So you're looking at buying a camper van. Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know. From ovens to air fryers, whether you want a pop top or not. We'll compare the base vehicles, whether it's Mercedes, Ford, VW or a Fiat. And of course, we'll cover layouts. So we'll look at dinettes at the back and we'll also look at fixed rear beds. And of course, we'll be looking at the great battery debate. Do you need an AGM or do you need lithium? So, a lot of people for the first van decide to go for one of the smaller vans like the VW or the Ford, a 5-metre van. Bonus with that, you can park it just about anywhere, you can take it wherever you want, it fits down the narrow country roads nice and easy. The downside, generally there's no fixed toilet area in there. You do generally get a porta potty with a lot of the vans, some you don't, but there isn't a fixed toilet area like a bathroom you can go into. Also, when it comes to weather and sleeping in it, you've got to go into the pop top generally. So you have got a bed down here that does make up, but a lot of people will use the pop top because it is a bigger bed and also there's less hassle making it up each night. So you're in there. The only problem with the pop top is when you do get to higher wind speeds, like 30, 35 mile an hour, you generally want to be bringing that pop top down so you don't damage it. The problem with that, and if you are away and you're away for a stormy weekend, you've got that pop top down all the time, your height is restricted to about here. So you're then crouched down if you're in the van and it does get a bit uncomfortable. I mean, a lot of people can get by with it, and if you judge the weather right, you're not going to have a problem. But that's just one thing to look for when you are buying a smaller van. One big advantage though to the 5-metre van, especially on the Ford and the VW, they do drive like a car. So next thing you want to look at is vehicle length. Now you've got generally 3 choices here. You've got the 5.4-metre van, and your next size up is the 6-metre van. And then finally, we've got the 6.4-metre van. So a little bit longer. The easier way of spotting one of them is you've got the orange lights down the side of it, anything over 6 metres. And there are a couple of exceptions to the rule. Like we can go for the VW or the Ford on the smaller ones. These are 5 metres long. And then we go all the way up to this huge 7-metre Heimer. Now, one of the most popular layouts on the high roof vans is the fixed bed at the rear, because not only does it give you a great sleeping area you can leave made up, so you're not carrying and trying to find storage for your duvets, your pillows, your blankets, whatever, but underneath you've got a great garage area as well, so you can store lots of equipment down there. If you take the step out like we've done on this one, you can put paddle boards down the middle there, bikes, whatever you needed. The other option we've got is the rear lounge area. So the bonus with this one, if you're socialising, you're all good to go. You've got a table that just goes in there, it comes in and out nice and easy. You can sit and talk to each other. TV points on the wall. This one's got the aerial built into it as well. Only problem is at night time you do have to make your bed, so put a couple of minutes aside, and also you've got to find a place to store your pillows, your duvets, your blankets, whatever you bring with you. So just bear that in mind, although it does give you a great lounge area for entertaining or just relaxing. And then there are other vans like the Van Life here which break the mould. Have a look at this. So with the Van Life, you mainly spend your time when you're sleeping upstairs in the pop top, but it does have a backup, this van, so if it is bad weather, the lounge area can convert into another bed, but again, you bring your bedding down from upstairs, you can on that, and use that, so that saves storing that in a way. Storage on this, it's only a 5.4-metre van, is fantastic. So we've got a nice big deep drawer here, we've got storage in the steps as well. Your fridge is built into the stairs as well, so that has its own space there. You're not taking up any more space in the van. You've got a biggest toilet of any 5-metre 40 van I have seen. Nice good sized shower area there with a duckboard. Toilet, we've got a pull down sink, and then nice little cupboard at the top there. As I say, you want to come inside, Lee, then a little step up, and then we've got your lounge area as well. So you've got the best of all the worlds in this. This is a great idea for a van. There's a few more coming out in the next couple of years, this sort of design. Now another option you can get at the back is the fixed bed. You can have it as 2 singles going either side there. The bonus with that is you do get more room there. You can sleep slightly longer people than you can generally on the transverse. So that's an option to look at. You normally as well can get a wardrobe built into underneath one of the sides of the bed, so it does give you good storage. And a minor bit with that is because they're longer beds, it does restrict the area you get in the front of the vehicle, so your bathroom's generally a bit smaller and your dinette can suffer as well. Now there are even a couple of camper vans now which have storage at the back which can come in quite handy. So if I open this up, this is the Malibu Genius. This has got storage boxes, which just pull out there. You can get either blank inside, or you can have your storage boxes, or you can have a pull-out bike rack. Now, a lot of people ask me, do I need four-wheel drive? It's up to yourself, it's a personal preference. You've got to look at what sort of road you're going on, whether you're likely to get stuck in places. If you're going to places that are going to be quite boggy, some people use it for fishing and things like that, then in those places it might be handy. But it's an expensive option to go for. It will generally add about £10,000 onto the price of your van, if not more. It does help it look the part, but it doesn't improve your fuel efficiency and it doesn't improve ride quality. And also, when you're buying your van, you've got to look at cooking. So the great question we get asked is, do I need an oven? Now, the ovens are great because they are built in there, so when it comes to cooking you can just put your bits in and that, but they do take up space. You do lose a great big size. It could be a cupboard or a couple of drawers. Also, they are quite slow to cook. A lot of people nowadays, especially if you're going to be on site and on hookup, you can take an air fryer, put that in a cupboard, cooks quicker, probably a bit better tasting as well in a lot of people's opinion. You can put it away when you're done, and you've still got this storage place for it, so it keeps it out of sight. The other option you've got is at the back of the van. As long as you've got gas in your vehicle, which most of them should have. If we pop round here, Lee, it's hidden away by the sign here. But if I move this, we've got a gas barbecue point on this one. So you can literally connect up a Cadillac or take a barbecue with you and you're all good to go. But that is an option on a van. Not all of them come as standard like they do on the Swift. So when it comes to your chassis, we've got a choice of four generally here. So I'm going to show you the first two, which are the Ford and the Fiat Ducato. So bonuses with the Ford, driving is fantastic in it, really is a good drive. It's a good looking vehicle as well, especially if you go for this, like what they call the trail pack on the front there, giving you that big grille. Now the Ford, it is a higher van, so if you are a taller person, a Ford is the one for you, because you can stand way up to like 6'10", 6'11" inside one of those, so headroom is not a problem. But the only thing with the Ford is the van walls do slightly curve in at the top there, so you do lose a fraction of space in your cupboards at the top. But bar that, it's an absolutely cracking vehicle. Now, when it comes to the Fiat, these are a good square-shaped van, so you do get the maximum amount of room inside the van. Not as high a roof as it is on the Ford, but it's a great van. I say inside, you've got lots of space in the cupboards there because the van's walls are straight. On the outside of the van, you can actually customise these quite a lot with the Fiat. So you can have advanced cruise control if that's something you're after, the full LED headlights. It's a good stylish front end as well. So you can have it colour coded like it is on here, or you can have it black bumpers. You really can customise these to how you want it with the features you do want in your cab. The next option we've got is the Volkswagen. Now these are a stunning looking vehicle. They drive fantastic, they really do. It feels like a car, even though it's quite a big vehicle at 6 metres, this one. The actual comfort while you're riding as well is next to none. It does reduce the rattles because they are quite a well-built vehicle. You notice that when you're driving them, the actual rattles it gives you are less than most vans. And two engine choices as well. You've got the standard 140 brake horsepower, or you can move up to the 163 brake automatic if that suits your fancy. And the final one we've got is the Mercedes. Now the Mercedes is quite a bit a dearer cab, so you will notice that when you're paying for your van, but with that you do get a good quality vehicle, very responsive, and you've got that Mercedes badge.
So now welcome to the great battery debate. Now this is between AGM and lithium. So those of you that are new to campervanning, you'll notice quite a lot of vans have got a normal AGM battery, which is the standard lead acid battery. But now there's a new one out called lithium, and that is a lot more efficient, it's a lot lighter, it's also a lot more expensive. So let's get into the pros and cons. Okay, so let's start with the pros and cons of AGM, so the standard lead acid batteries that you'll find in most camper vans. So the pros are, it's a lot more affordable, it's a lot cheaper to do, and it's also much easier to install. And like I say, you'll find it on most things anyway. So if you've got one battery already, you can always add a second if you're ready for it and you think you need it, and it doubles your power. Now, the cons, so it's a bit heavier, so you'll find that the batteries are quite heavy, and they're not quite as powerful as the new lithiums that are out. And you'll also find that the charge, once it starts to drop to sort of half charge, it can damage the battery if you leave that charge to drop under that sort of barrier. So it is better to keep it charged as much as you can more frequently. Now you won't get quite as many days out of an AGM battery as you would with a lithium being off grid, Now your pros and cons of the all-new lithium features that you'll find now starting to sneak through into campervans. So lithium, pros, they're a lot lighter. Now these talk about half the weight of a standard AGM battery, which can mean a lot when you're looking at payloads. So there is that factor as well. Also, when we talked about damaging the battery dropping below sort of half on the AGM, now with lithium you can drop it all the way down to nothing, so no charge at all, charge it right back up, and that is not going to damage the battery at all. Now for you off-gridders as well that don't want to be on sites, lithium is going to be better for you because it's going to be more efficient and going to give you a lot longer amount of time you can spend unplugged, so you'll get quite a lot more days there. And also another con with the lithium is it does cost a lot of money to do. Now some of the conversions are in the thousands for changing, but you've also got to make sure that your van has the right charging capability already installed, because if you've not got the right charger that's going to take a lithium battery, that's also going to cost you quite a bit more money. So now for all you campervanners here, now this is the big argument, lithium and AGM. Which one do you need? Now generally, some good advice there is to start off with, if you've never had one before, to start off with, just stick with your AGM and see how you go. But if you think that actually we've done a few breaks where we need a bit more power, this is when you start to think, do I need a second AGM battery? Is that going to be enough for me? Or do you want to spend that money? Have you got that to one side already ready to go? So you're going to be off-grid a lot more and you're going to make the most of doing a lithium upgrade. Now this is the big thing. But if you're starting off already and you know 100% you're going to be off-grid, you're not going to be using sites too much, you're going to be off-grid more, lithium is absolutely the way forward. And now as a final word to all of you guys looking at lithium, if you are looking to upgrade to lithium, please make sure that you have double checked that you are not going to avoid your manufacturer's warranty when you put these systems in place. Now always try, if you can, to go back to the supplying dealer. If they can't do it for you, which in some cases they won't be able to, then look for an approved or an accredited workshop that can fit these lithium systems, because we'd hate to find that you do these upgrades and it does void any warranty. So please take extra care when doing that. Now here we're going to talk about payloads. Now this might be something you've heard when you've been searching for campervans. Now it's very important that you take note of payloads, because that is what you can actually take with you when you go away. And that can include passengers as well. So you need to be careful when you're looking at that as well, because you don't want to go over your maximal permissible weight, which is this figure here. Now what you'll find is most manufactured campervans you'll find are plated to 3.5 ton. Now that means that the vehicle can't go past 3.5 ton in weight. The figure underneath here is the payload. Now that is the difference between the value that the vehicle left the factory at. So when the manufacturer will make the vehicle, they'll generally weigh the vehicle for us before it goes, and that weight might come out at 2.8, 2.9, 3 ton. It depends on what vehicle it is and how it leaves the factory. And it will also include generally a driver, about 75 kilos. It will include sometimes some water, so about 20% water. Also, it will account for some fuel as well. Now, each manufacturer will specify how they determine the weights on their manufacturer's portals, on the configurators, etc. So when you're building a vehicle online, it will have a weight section there that you can read through and see exactly what they're accounting for within their specific weight. Now, the difference between the weight that the vehicle leaves the factory and its permissible weight is estimated here on this poster at 385 kilos. So this is what you can take on holiday with you. So it's whether you've got another passenger, a suitcase full of clothes and things like that, some food as well. So when you're driving, all that should be accounted for. Now, a lot of people, when they're talking about payload, always want to know where a weight plate is on the van. Now, there's a few different places, but the most common one and the easiest one to find is underneath the bonnet, and it's on that front tray there. Bike racks. Now these are so common on a lot of our campervans we do here, because campervanners love to go biking, and so do I. Now on the back here, this is either going to be a Fuel or a Fiamma bike rack system, and these are the ones we install the most on most of our campervans. Now they drop down and they've got 2 bars for 2 bikes. But one thing to consider, if you have electric bikes, this is probably not going to be the best option for you because they do weigh quite a lot, electric bikes, and also trying to lift them up and put them up there is going to be hard work for you. If you've got standard analog bikes, absolutely fine. The maximum weight these will take is about 32 kilos, whereas a standard electric bike is roughly between 18 to 25 kilos. So you've just got to be aware. You could take one on the back, but if you've got two electric bikes, you're going to have to look at a tow bar option. Now, this is something that we do here. We do different types of tow bars. You've got fixed or you've got a detachable tow bar. And there are loads of different types of bike rack systems you can buy to add to a tow bar. Some that will take 3, some that will just take 2, with swing arms that will come out. There is a load of choice out there. So really consider what type of biking you're doing that is going to suit your van.
So your insurance have asked you to get a tracker. What you must bear in mind is the tracker has to be a Thatcham-approved tracker, and it has to be fitted by a Thatcham-approved installer. So you can't just go on the internet and buy a tracker for £20, put it in the vehicle yourself. It does have to have a proper monitoring subscription which has been certified by Thatcham. There are a couple of people out there that will offer to send you a tracker, but you must look and say that for a Thatcham tracker, it does have to be installed by a Thatcham approved installer, because there are ways that it has to be fitted. So don't fall into the trap of buying a cheap tracker, because you will end up buying twice, or worst case scenario, your vehicle will get stolen and you'll find that you're not insured. So an S7 tracker is the entry level tracker. This is monitored 24 hours a day, but it does rely on you reporting the vehicle as stolen. So you'll have an app and you'll be able to see your vehicle on the app. It does track 24 hours a day, but if the vehicle is stolen, you need to know that the vehicle's been stolen. You will then phone the police and report it stolen, call the tracker company, let them know it's been stolen, and that's when the tracker company will then liaise with the police to track and recover. So an S5 tracker is a more advanced tracker. So with the S5 system, there's two. There's the S5 and the S5 Plus. The only difference between the two is the Plus has an additional immobilisation. But with the S5 tracker, they all come with what's called driver recognition tags. So this system has 2 tags, and the tracker is always looking for the tag. So when you use the vehicle, you'll turn your ignition on, it will look for the tag and everything is fine. If it doesn't see the tag, then that creates an alert, and the monitoring company will then call you to let you know that the vehicle is either moving or has been started, and you will confirm whether that's yourselves or if there should be nobody in the vehicle and the likelihood is that it's being stolen. This allows for you to know that your vehicle's being stolen within 90 seconds, a minute, a couple of minutes, and that means that there's a much better chance of retrieving the vehicle, because they're tracking and hopefully recovering the vehicle literally within minutes of it being stolen. So if you've got any questions, if there's anything you need to know, or if you want to do your order over the phone, feel free to give us a call on 01909 319 195. If for any reason we don't answer the phone, because sometimes we are quite busy, please do leave your name, a contact number, along with a quick message, and we'll contact you just as soon as we can.